Hello. Hi. So let's see. Today I would like to do like a story time and a show and tell. I want to show and tell at least one of my quilts because if I try to do them all, I'm gonna run out of material really fast. So we're gonna do one at a time. I will probably release videos. I haven't decided yet, maybe twice a week, maybe like I don't know, Friday and Tuesday or Tuesday and Sunday or Wednesday and Saturday. I haven't decided yet. We'll find out. I don't know. So let's see. Story time. So I sound like Thomas Sanders. So I wanted to start by talking about how I got into sewing and quilting and whatever. So about this time last year, I had started watching a lot of videos about how to use your sewing machine on YouTube. I didn't own a sewing machine, but I was like, maybe someday I'll own a sewing machine and I can learn how to make like clothes or costumes or it started out because I wanted to learn how to make my own clothes. I was like, I'm not satisfied with how my clothes were fitting. And I'm like, okay, let's just make our own clothes and then we can make them fit however we want. But that didn't work out. Like I said, I don't really do garment sewing anymore, like at all. So we got like a Christmas bonus at work and I was like looking online and I found this sewing machine that was on sale for like $100 and it's normally like $250 or something. And I was like, oh, let's get that. And I can learn how to sew. And I had been watching, there's a channel called Made to Sew, and I had been watching like some like quilting videos. I don't even remember who I was watching at the time. But so I bought a sewing machine and I learned how to use it. And for Mother's Day, I bought my mom the same brand but a different type. And we were watching the instructional video, and I had recently had like issues with my thread breaking, and then we watched the instructional like DVD thing that shows you how to thread it and everything, and I found out I'd been threading my machine wrong for quite a while. Anyway, so December, I think for Christmas, I bought myself a sewing machine. And then I started watching quilting videos online and I bought like a cutting mat and a rotary cutter and, um, you know, a long ruler. I had to wait to get my long ruler and I was like, I can't cut any fabric without my long ruler. So I had to wait to do that and then I started quilting. And the first thing that I made was, let's see if I can make this work. This, I don't know, you probably can't see all of that at all. It is a sampler from, from Shabby Fabrics in Idaho. They have a video series. First of all, I love Jennifer Bosworth of Shabby Fabrics. She's amazing. Her instructional videos are so helpful, and she has this hour-long video that's like, learn to quilt, your first quilt, like, everything that you need to know about making a quilt. And so I watched that, and then I watched the rest of them. I hadn't even bought the kit yet, but I watched the whole series. And I was like, yes, we're gonna we're gonna do this. So I ended up buying their kit, and I made it, and I just sort of wanted to talk about it. I know, you're not supposed to point out your mistakes. You're just, if someone says, that's a really lovely quilt, you're just supposed to say thank you and move on. I get it. And I'm working on it. But today I wanted to, this is a show and tell. I want to do a little bit of show and tell about my very first quilt and how it went. Because I did a little bit of crying. I don't usually cry over, I've cried over a couple. I've made 4, and I think there's 2 that I've just had a really hard time with. So first we made oh my goodness. First we made the what is it called? Rail fence block. She taught us how to do strip sets and how to cut them and how to accurately, piece them and making sure that they're in like pressing and all that stuff. And I bought my 1/4 inch foot for my machine. My sewing machine is a Brother XR 3774. I'm looking at it right now. And so it's just pretty cheap, but it does what I need it to do. And it has like 37 different stitches. Like I'm ever going to use 37 different stitches, but I'd rather have them and not use them than need them and not have them. So anyway, I bought the 1/4 inch foot for the sewing machine and I was trying to use it, and they gave us like practice fabric, and I was like, oh, why are all of my blocks like they're like 1/16 of an inch off, every single one of them? And I found out I wasn't using the right line on my foot, and I was like, oh, well, that would be why. So this next block is the square block, and I am obsessed with how perfect my corners are. Like, I made this block and I have never made a more perfect block since then. My corners, nope, they haven't gotten any better at all whatsoever. And then we have a sawtooth star block here that I made the flying geese for, and then I sewed one of the flying geese units like completely upside down, and I took a picture of it, of the block. I was so proud of it. I took a picture of it, and I'm standing there with my phone like taking a picture, and then I'm like editing it and putting it on Instagram, and I'm about to hit post, and I look down at my picture, not at the block that's also sitting right in front of me. No, I look down at my picture, I'm like, something's wrong. And so I like look at the block, and I'm like, I sewed the flying geese unit completely upside down, and I had like this like second. It was like a split second of, can I just leave it? Like, no one's gonna notice, right? And I was like, no, you need to pick that out and you need to redo it. So I did. And I think I still have that picture on my phone of the, like, I keep it as a reminder that, yeah, you're gonna make mistakes, and that's okay. You can just undo it, redo it, and it's fine. And don't just let those mistakes sit in there, especially when that big. There are some mistakes that I'm like, whatever, I don't even care. But mistakes that big, just undo it and fix it. And then we did the card trick block. It's lots of triangles. Jenny Doan of Missouri Star Quilt Company, who is like my idol right now, my celebrity idol. Like, I would love to meet her. She has a video on how to do them with squares. And I'm like, yes, we're going to do these with squares. But I made these with the triangles. I followed the instructions. I can't not follow instructions. If there are instructions, I'm going to be following them. And if I don't follow the instructions, it turns out a horrible mess. And then I feel awful and I cry because I'm like, that's what I get for not following the instructions. I've always been like that. And then after the card trick block was the spool block. And the spool block is like the worst thing ever. It was so, I don't know if it was just me or if it's actually a difficult thing to do, but oh my gosh, it was so hard, and it's not at all perfect. And I don't like for people to look at it too closely because it doesn't look good. Like the little flash that I just showed you, you're probably like, no, it looks fine. Nope, I'm not proud of my spool block, but that's okay. It was my very first quilt. It's a learning experience. I probably won't do spool blocks that way ever again. I don't know. Anyway, and then we have the log cabin. And the log cabin was probably my favorite one to do. The orange squares came out so perfectly, but the log cabin was just so it was so satisfying. You know, you sew, like you cut out all your strips and your little square and you sew them all and then you turn it and then you sew them all again. And pressing it was just a dream. Oh my gosh. This is weird. Okay, this video, I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, so then we get to, let's see, borders were not too bad. Borders were fine. There's another one later where the borders gave me oh so much trouble. That's the other one I cried over. I cried over those borders like 3 times, and then I unpicked them like 16 different times and tried to resew them, and it was a mess, let me tell you. But that quilt is done. It's finished, and it's going to my grandma in the Philippines because I made it, and I want her to have something that I made. And it just makes me feel happy, especially something that I had such a hard time with. Like, it needs to be appreciated by someone who doesn't know what I went through. So then we come to binding, and like I did this all by machine. I actually watched videos on how to machine bind before I tried to do this, and I should have just hand bound it because machine binding is not, I don't think it looks as good. I'm sorry, machine binding people. I just don't care for it, personally. So the binding, I was all good until I got to where you cut your ends and you sew them together, and then you can finish sewing it to the front. I made a bubble. My ends were they weren't quite the right length or something. And so when I sewed it, because I machine bound it, I sewed it to the back first. That's it. So I sewed it to the back, and I made this little bubble. And there's nothing I can do about this bubble right now. And I'm just going to leave it because, again, this is my first quilt. It was a learning experience, and I'm going to hide the bubble. And, you know, I want to leave it like it is with all the little mistakes in it, because, you know, it's okay to make mistakes like that. Nothing is perfect. I know there's that weird myth. I watched what's her name? Mary Fonz did a video about myths about quilting, and, you know, that one about how quilters will like intentionally put a mistake in their quilt because nothing is perfect. I'm like, I don't have to intentionally make mistakes. No, they just happen. And then, you know, if it bothers you a lot, you can take it out and you can fix it, and that's okay. If it doesn't bother you, that's also okay. No one's going to, like, you know, come to your house and be like, you made this mistake on your quilt and you didn't take it out. And, like, no one's going to do that. There's no quilt police. Nope. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about my first quilt. I will have more later. Like I said, I've made 4. And I'm working on several. I have, let's see, Labor Day weekend, my aunt and I, we went to Missouri Star because it's only like 45 minutes away from where I live, so it's really not it's like a half day trip. It's like a morning trip for us. So we went to Missouri Star on Labor Day weekend, and I got a cake mix, and I've been playing with that because I really wanted to do one of those, and it's really fun. And then I'm also doing Shabby Fabrics, like quilt Christmas North Pole Sampler Sew Along, I think is what it is called. And so I'm working on that. And then I have from Jordan Fabrics I think they're in Oregon. Donna Jordan had made a pattern, like a Jacob's Ladder type pattern. And so I'm making that. So those are all in the works, and I will show those later too. But today I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about how I got into quilting and my favorite. I can talk about my favorite, like, quilter videos. Again, Shabby Fabrics. Jennifer Bosworth from Shabby Fabrics is amazing, and I will link the kit and the video series. They have a whole playlist on YouTube. They also have an intermediate series, which I haven't done yet, and I really would like to. So I'll link those. And then Jenny Doan from Missouri Star, again, is my like celebrity idol at the moment. And Donna Jordan from Jordan Fabrics. They're in Grants Pass, Oregon, I think. Yeah. And I think the person who inspired me to make these videos the most is probably, I don't know her name. I think her name is Anna. She's also from Oregon. She's from Sisters. And she has two channels. One is called Quilt Roadies and one is called Stitch Roadies. And she just sort of sits and talks to you like, just like this. And I was like, wow, I want to do that where I can just sit down and like talk to you like I'm, you know, you're all my friends. Hi, friends. Um, and I just want to sort of feel like you can just have a cup of coffee and watch me talk about my videos or, my quilts or whatever, because it's just really nice to sit and talk to a bunch of people all at once without having a bunch of people staring at me. The only person staring at me is me in my phone camera. Anyway, so this is my first quilt. I will also be talking later about the quilt I did following, Melanie Ham. Melanie Ham's videos, it's called My First Quilt, but it was actually my second quilt. Oh well. Anyway, and I have a couple of coworkers who are having babies, so they need baby quilts too. So I'm, busy doing quilting things, and I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a good life. And I hope that I will see you soon on my channel. Bye.